Tale of the Lost Village, Part 1. In a quiet part of Igbo land, surrounded by thick forest and tall mountains, there was once a village called Umuoma. The people of Umuoma were known for their kindness, hard work, and respect for the gods. They farmed the land, fished in the rivers, and celebrated their festival with great joy. Their lives were peaceful and full of laughter. But one day, everything changed. Far away from the village, on the other side of the great mountain, an evil spirit named Omenka was watching. Omenka hated peace and happiness. He wanted to bring sadness and suffering to the people of Umuoma. So, he made a plan to curse the village. Omenka came down from the mountain and crept into the village one night. He planted a strange seed in the center of the village near the sacred tree. The seed grew into a giant dark tree with twisted branches. This tree was no ordinary tree, it was cursed. It brought sickness, drought, and sorrow to Umuoma. The rivers dried up, the crops refused to grow, and the people became weak and ill. The villagers prayed to the gods, but no help came. The elders gathered and spoke to the village Dibia. Ezola shook his head sadly. "This is no ordinary sickness," he said. "The village has been cursed by an evil spirit called Omenka. We must find a way to break the curse, or Umuoma will be lost forever." "What is the way to break the curse?" the elders asked. And he said, "Some men will have to go to the cave in the evil forest to get the cure. But before they get to the cave, they have to fight Omenka and defeat him." The people were sad and didn't know what to do anymore. All the men in the village of Umuoma refused to go to fight Omenka because they know Omenka was very strong and he would defeat them if they go there. Their heart was not strong and no one was ready to go. The people of Omenka continued to die one after the other. There lived a young girl called Nneka. Nneka was a very small girl and quiet, but she had a big heart. Nneka's mother became ill out of the curse. The Dibia gave her everything he could, but she didn't recover. Nneka then got upset and said that she would go to fight Omenka. She went to the Dibia and told him to prepare her that she would go to the evil forest to fight Omenka. But the Dibia laughed at her. "If the men of the village refuse to go to fight Omenka, is it you, this little girl, that will defeat Omenka? Don't go, my child," she said. "Let us suffer until we all vanished." Nneka did not listen to him. She went to visit her grandmother to ask what she can do to defeat Omenka. Her grandmother lived at the edge of the village. Her name is Nwani. Nwani was old and wise, and she knew many stories about the past. Grandmother Nneka said, "What can be done to defeat Omenka and lift the curse that he placed in our village?" Nwani looked at her with the kind eyes. "The curse is strong and the evil spirit will not let us break it so easily. But I believe in you, Nneka. You are braver than you know." Nwani told Nneka a story about a hidden cave deep in the forest. In this cave lived an ancient spirit called Ndịda, who was said to have the power to break any curse. But the journey to the cave was dangerous, and many who had tried to find it had never returned. Nneka listened carefully. "I will find the cave," she said. "I will speak to Ndịda and ask for help." Her grandmother smiled. "If anyone can do it, it is you, Nneka. But be careful. The forest is full of dangers, and Omenka will try to stop you." Nneka nodded. She was scared, but she knew she had to try. She couldn't let her village and her people perish because of this curse. The next morning, Nneka prepared for her journey. She packed some food, water, and a small knife her father had given to her. She said goodbye to her parents and grandmother, who were worried but proud of their brave daughter. "May the gods guide your step," her father said. Nneka set off toward the forest, her heart beating fast. The trees were tall and dark, and strange sound filled the air. But Nneka was determined. She walked for hours, following the path her grandmother had described. As she walked deeper into the forest, she came to a river. The water was dark and swift, and there was no bridge. Nneka looked around, wondering how she would cross. Suddenly, she heard a voice. Who dares to enter my forest? The voice boomed. Nneka looked up and saw a giant snake coiling around a tree. Its scales shimmered in the sunlight, and its eyes glowed with a strange light. I am Nneka from Umuoma, she said briefly. I am on a journey to find the cave of the ancient spirit Ndịda. I seek to break the curse on my village. The snake eased softly. Many have tried to find the cave, but no one have returned. What makes you think you will succeed? Nneka stood tall. I may be small, but I have the heart of a warrior. I will not give up until I find the cave. The snake watched her for a moment, then nodded. Very well, little one. I will help you cross the river. But be aware, the path ahead is full of dangers. Trust your heart and you may succeed. The snake slithered down and stretched its long body along the river, forming a bridge. Nneka carefully walked across, thanking the snake as she reached the other side. On the other side of the river, the forest grew even darker. The trees twisted into strange shapes, and the air was cold. Nneka shivered but pressed on. She knew she had to keep going. As she walked, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned quickly, but no one was there. She kept walking, but the footsteps grew louder. Nneka's heart pounded. Was someone following her? Suddenly, a dark figure stepped out from behind a tree. It was tall and shadowy, with glowing red eyes. Who are you? Nneka asked, her voice shaking. I am Omenka, the spirit of darkness, the figure said. Turn back now, little girl, or you will never return.